Viewers beware, you're in for a scare. Galaxy of Fear. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, narrated by Disney, Oracle and Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it. Legends. Now, picture this. It is the late 90s, and there is a very popular young adult series, like selling like hotcakes, selling like crazy. What is it? Well, it's a little series called Goosebumps. And so, Lucasfilm was like, do that, but in Star Wars. And they got John Whitman to do it with the series Galaxy of Fear. As for Goosebumps, I mean, I read quite a few of them growing up. I think some of my more vivid memories are of the choose your own adventure ones, where it's like, oh, you make this decision, flip to this page. But I mean, I did read a few of them. I was more into the 90s show, because that was on all the time on TV growing up, even though I'm a 2000s kid. But I have pretty good memories of Goosebumps. They never really scared me, but they were always a lot of fun. But yeah, so this is basically Goosebumps in Star Wars. This is, it's an interesting thing that, Lucasfilm decided to try to cash in on that craze. And as you'll see as we go through it, it's got like a lot of chapters end with, and Lando Calrissian gets eaten alive. Next chapter he's fine, but like stuff like that, little cliffhangers in the chapters. I have to say, this was a lot of fun. This is a really good series. I put this easily above The Last of the Jedi, maybe even Jedi Quest, if I'm being honest. I don't know if I hold true to that, but maybe I might say that. I don't think it's above Young Jedi Knights or Junior Jedi Knights, but I like it more than Rebel Force. That's for sure. This was a lot of fun. Just, oh man, it was so, for a kid's novel, it's still so much fun and filled with surprising EU connections that you would be like, what? So before I get into spoilers, I'll just name off kind of the general gist of every book. Galaxy of Fear, Book 1, Eaten Alive. We have 3 characters that we follow, Tash and Zek, 2 orphans of Alderaan who go to live with their anthropologist uncle, who's a shapeshifter. How did that happen? Not exactly sure. The book does not go into it. Perhaps he married into it, except that he doesn't seem to be married. So, I don't know. Maybe he's more of like a godfather, but they kind of just gave him the title uncle. How did he meet their parents? How is he related to them in any way, shape, or form? We'll never know. But he is their uncle. So they go to this planet, and they meet up with the OT trilogy characters, Han, Luke, and Leia, and they go on an adventure together, without spoilers, on this planet. Maybe similar to New Jedi Order. I'll leave it at that. Book 2, City of the Dead. Our heroes go to Necropolis. Like in Fallout, with the ghoul city Necropolis. I don't know if I need to say anymore. Once I heard the name of the planet, I was pretty certain about what was going to happen, at least in terms of the general idea behind that spooky tale. But I'll leave that for you to find out. Book 3, Planet Plague. In this one, we have a goo monster. Why? Because Goosebumps had the Monster Blood books. So a gooey monster in Star Wars as well. Book 4, Nightmare Machine. Our heroes go to Hologram Fun World and meet Lando Calrissian. Now, this one is actually an interesting thing indeed because of the fact that this is actually a connection to what, you may ask? Well, the obviously brilliant and wonderful Jedi Prince series. You see, in Jedi Prince, Lando's in charge of an amusement park called Hologram Fun World. So John Whitman decided to make an EU connection here. I mean, all the previous books have had a connection in some way, shape, or form to the movies, but here we have an explicit connection to the EU. Sure, nobody really wanted to expand upon the Jedi Prince series because it was a so bad it's good situation. Yeah, besides Noah from Quality Autism. But there are references here and there, like with Jabba's father and whatnot. But here, maybe a prequel connection. But still, it was really cool. Moving on, we have Book 5, Ghost of the Jedi. Our heroes reach. I should also mention that by Book 3, we meet the overarching villain for the 6-book arc. But anyway, moving on. Ghost of the Jedi, they go to this Jedi library, and our heroes learn the truth about a character named Forceflow, and there's a Jedi Ghost. Oh, and a cool Mos Eisley Cantina connection. I'll leave it at that. Book 6, Army of Terror. We basically get a conclusion to there is more books in this series. I think there's like 10 or 11. But as for this particular story arc, it is concluded here. We meet up with the OT characters again. We see Vader again. And everything comes to a head and is concluded in this book, at least for this story arc. Overall, are they the greatest Star Wars things ever? No. But are they fun? Yes. And I do recommend them. I do think they're worth your time. They have, it's not like scary, but it's nice to follow different characters apart from, in an era that's just saturated with Han, Luke, and Leia. It's nice to get a story that, while they're in it, doesn't really have anything to do with them. Right? It's focused on other characters. And Huel himself, the uncle shapeshifter, he's a really interesting character, and I really enjoyed him, along with Tash and Zach. I enjoy them both as characters. So the droid was the weakest character in the series for me. I just didn't care about him. He just wasn't entertaining to me. But it's probably like my only gripe. Everything else about this series I really enjoyed. So I do highly, highly, highly recommend it if you can find it. I'm gonna get into spoilers. I don't have many. I'm just gonna mention a few things. But yeah, definitely find these if you can, whether online or actually paying for them. But they are a lot of fun. But yeah, if you don't want spoilers, time for you to leave. If you don't care about spoilers, stick around. So in book 1, here's what we learn about the planet Devourin. It's a living planet. It eats people. And it is created by the mysterious evil scientist that we get introduced to in this first book. And that will be a running thing throughout a lot of these stories. Moving on to book 2, the City of the Dead. We have Boba Fett and Dr. Death, Dr. Evazan. Yes, Dr. Evazan returns from the movies themselves and Tales of Mos Eisley to conduct experiments on living dead because he's going to learn how to live forever. Boba Fett wants to capture him because he's wanted on 12 star systems, and he comes to capture his bounty. This was a great one. It was really fun to have Boba Fett and Dr. Evazan in this story. Book 3, Planet Plague. Who helps our heroes throughout this adventure? Well, Rogue Squadron member Wedge Antilles. And that's pretty much it. Other than the fact that, of course, the goo monster is created by this guy. And I don't remember if it's in this book or the previous book, but Zack gets stabbed by the bad guy, and he gets sick because of it. Oh, this is also where we learn about the other shapeshifter of the same race as the Uncle Huel, which is Gog, who is an evil scientist shapeshifter. Book 4, Nightmare Machine. So, Lando's in it. They're on this hologram fun world, so of course Gog is a shapeshifter, so sometimes when they were going through the chapters, sometimes it's just a hologram that our people are getting scared about, and sometimes it's actually Gog. Ooh, spooky. Only other thing that I didn't want to mention in the non-spoilers is that Dengar makes an appearance. He's playing Sabacc with Han Solo, or not, with Lando. So there's a possible contradiction. I don't know if it's inherently one, but by the end of the book, Lando says he's going to go investigate Cloud City about stuff. I mean, I guess theoretically, if you had to, you could shove that Tales comic after this, but I read it before, and most timelines seem to put that story before these, so I don't know. But he's investigating a place that he's already in charge of. I don't know. I mean, there might be a way to make that work. I mean, you could just shove the story afterwards, but I read it before, and a lot of timelines place it before, so I don't know. You tell me in the comment section below. Moving on to Book 5, Ghost of the Jedi. So, we learn who Force Flow is, and it's, of course, Gog. He's been catfishing Tash for 4 books. We learn that Force Flow is just a fake persona he started so he could get Force sensitives to come to this fake Jedi library so he could capture them for his experiments. We also have an Inzadi that was bought by Gog because the Emperor, or the Empire, wants Zack and Tash and Huel dead because they keep interfering with Project Starscream, which is the project of all the that's why we see all the scary stuff in this series. And so they send in an assassin to kill them, but Gog wants to use them for further study, so he sends the Inzadi pipe smoker from Tales from Mos Eisley, also, just a nerdy guy we see in the episode 4 scene of the cantina, and he's sent to save them. He does, but once he's done that, once he's killed the other assassin, he bails, because Inzadi don't help people. And then, there's this Jedi Ghost that helps Tash, and she finally realizes with 100% certainty, even though we already knew this, that she is Force sensitive. But then it's like, I'm kind of confused, because, obviously Force Ghosts are a thing, but it's something you have to kind of, learn to do, and this Jedi is just kind of there, and I don't even know if it's a he or she, but he's like, I'm taking my penance for failing to stop Vader, or something like that. And it's like, what do you mean? Ghosts aren't like how they are, or how people make them to be in real life. Even though I don't believe in ghosts, but it's supposed to be like, it's Star Wars, so the Force, right? But I don't know. That might be a contradiction. I don't know. There's probably some way to explain it. Maybe supernatural encounters will delve into it, but there's just a ghost Jedi, which should be voluntary. Otherwise, how would you accidentally become one? That seems a bit contradictory. But then again, this was the 90s, and I don't even think the prequels, either the first episode had come out, or I don't know if it had though yet. It might have been before the episode 1, but still, it's like, I don't know. But it's earlier in the EU timeline, so at least in terms of release date. So I'll let it slide. Then we have Book 6, Army of Terror. The conclusion. This is where we learn everything. This is what I've suspected since like book 2, but this is what we finally have confirmed, which Huel's backstory, which actually fits really well with the prequels. It says that 20 years ago is when all this stuff happened, because they go to this like dead planet where everyone died, and he shortly after Empire formed, shortly after episode 3, 20 years ago, he goes and gets a grant, I guess, from the Empire to kind of like just fund his scientific research. And he has a partner. Who is that partner, of course? Well, Gog. It's why Gog knows him already. It's why Boba Fett knows him already. It's why Jabba the Hutt knows him already. And it's another classic tale of redemption, because that's what Star Wars is all about. And he's like, yeah, there was a one scene that hit me really hard, where the kids are like, you never loved us, or you never cared about us, you just took care of us to make yourself feel better, after Alderaan, it reminded him of his guilt or whatever. And it's not like he wanted that to happen necessarily, it was like a mistake. But also Gog was supposed to be making sure that there were safety precautions, which Gog didn't. But he still makes himself feel to blame for that. So that was really great. We also have the original characters return. We have Vader return, and Luke helps Tash, because they're both Force sensitives at the end of the book, and that's really great. And everything gets kind of tied up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the series, because originally there was only supposed to be 6 books, but they were so popular that they got another like 7. So I guess we'll see. But overall, yeah, guys, that's the gist. I really enjoy Galaxy Fear, though. I definitely think it's worth your time if you have not seen it already. But if you're watching the spoilers, why did you do that? But it's a good time, and I do recommend it. So that's my show, guys. I have a couple more things next. And then we have Timothy Zahn's Choices of One. We'll see if my opinion changes. I'm guessing not. But at least I had fun here. Until next time, guys. May the Force be with you.